Today is December 2nd. I think I had another significant dream last night. Although, again, like the other day, I was too tired to actually, wake up then and, write it down. So, I went back to sleep and then later wrote everything that I could remember down. So, this dream all took place at our elementary school, just like one of my recent dreams from the other day. Although this seemed to be like some kind of special event that wasn't during school hours, but later in the afternoon. I don't remember there being any little kids there, so it was more of just where they held it at, this event. And rather than, it wasn't necessarily an elementary school event, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was some kind of talent show, and people would, of course, come on stage and sing. Maybe some people did other stuff than sing, but apparently, I want to say we were all allowed to, or either supposed to, dress up in some kind of costume for whatever reason. I don't know. That part seemed a little funny to be in the dream. I want to say I was either dressed up as Buzz Lightyear or Mr. Incredible. Again, that might not mean anything. I don't know. Like, all those details so far probably aren't super relevant, but it's hard to know for sure. So I try to always include every detail that I can remember from these dreams, even if I don't, at least at the time, think they're significant. Because sometimes these seemingly random details end up meaning something huge that I realize later on. But, anyways, someone was on stage performing, and I was supposed to be on next, so I was getting ready. I think I was gonna rap an NF song, like I've actually done a few times on stage in real life at talent shows. And then after they were done, they instead called someone else's name to go. And I was so confused because I thought for sure that I was up next, that it was my time. So I'm getting ready to go on, very nervous, hoping I don't mess the song up. And then they call the next person to go. Uh, I forget, but I may have checked with the people running it to make sure that they didn't make a mistake, that I was still on the list to go. And I think they assured me, saying something like, "Don't worry, that I'm still on there, that I will be going soon." So it was almost time for the next person, which hopefully was me this time. And right as they were ending their song, I was so nervous that I ran straight to the bathroom super fast and came back to, behind the stage. And this time it really was my turn. So this time had all been waiting for me for like a minute or so, because I went and left for a second, but they weren't like upset or impatient, I don't think. I'm trying to remember the sequence of things that happen next, so I may be misremembering partially the order of things. Either I did the rap, which when I was writing out my dream, my phone autocorrected. It kept autocorrecting rap to rapture, which I thought was funny. Um, yeah, so either I did the rap or I had first ran outside for some reason. I think what happened was I did do that rap, and then after that I ran outside, and I forget why I even went out there. Um, I think it's I think I may have seen, like, out the window, some stuff falling in the sky, um, just from out the window. And yeah, so this is where it gets very end timesy, very significant. This is kind of crazy. So for context, I've had many end times rapture dreams that I've shared on here, and one of the most significant things from any of them was the fireballs. One of my dreams, I saw several in the sky, like slowly falling down from very high up. One of the dreams was definitely like a fireball comet, falling possibly at like a slanted angle. I forget if it was actually at an angle or not. I do remember at least the thumbnail. I had it. It was going at an angle. The picture I used. So it probably was, but I'd have to go back. But anyways, this part is the reason why I knew this dream was significant to write all this down, to share it with you guys. So I was outside of the school, and suddenly this massive, multicolored, iridescent, flaming fireball with all kinds of little colored sparkles all floating off of it, spreading throughout the air in like chunks of like rainbow colored meteor was also like coming off it, or just also speeding down also. There were just all these like rainbow, really bright and colorful rainbow sparkles everywhere, just different colors all throughout the air falling. It was the most beautiful sight, the most beautiful disaster. Unlike the other dreams, I mean, of course, uh, those ones, they weren't colorful, they were just orange basically, being fireballs, but basically they were in those earlier dreams, the fireballs were so slow that it was almost hard to even tell that they were moving from what I remember, though they definitely were. But this one that I just had, this dream, I think this fireball may have even been the biggest one that I've seen in a dream. Um, Unless it only appeared bigger because it was way closer to the ground this time instead of way high up in the sky. But this one wasn't slow. It was like rocketing down fast. Like it took like seconds. Just like a few seconds. Like it was crazy fast. So it was going down fast and at an angle. And like within a few seconds, pretty much, I think it even touched the ground, like hit the ground. So seeing all that craziness just within the last handful of seconds, basically, I ran back inside to warn everyone. But I didn't think they'd listen to all my rapture nonsense. So instead of just straight up telling them what was going on outside, I think what I did was I was gonna go back on stage again to perform. Maybe I was already supposed to go on again after I rapped once earlier. I forget how that worked, but I went back on, and instead of performing, um, I was thinking like I should warn these people like what's going on. So I think that's what I did, and I can't really remember much else about it. Although in like another dream later on that night that I was dreaming, I remember um I think I was in the attic. So this is like unrelated to the first part, it seems, the what I dreamt earlier, but I think I was in an attic with some people, and the floor was like flooded with toys everywhere. So who I was with, we were all like trying to clean and throw most of the toys into these big garbage bags to get rid of most of it, because there was just way too much stuff there. And I remember changing my mind about a couple things, putting some stuff like taking them back out of the bags because I didn't want to get rid of them. Um, yeah, but we'd bagged up a lot of stuff. But my 2-year old nephew, who actually turns or turned 3 today, in real life, in this dream, he was there watching the TV and asked something. I can't remember what he said, but he asked why the women there were acting like men, or maybe it was men acting like women, something like that. He worded it in his own childlike way, like, "Why are the girls doing what guys do?" I wish I could remember how he worded it, because it was kind of clever, I think, but essentially on the TV were, I think, a handful of like maybe bodybuilders on a beach with a couple of guys in the front of the screen and a couple women in the back, all making their like huge muscles flex and making like manly grunting noises, showing off their muscles. And like, yeah, that's all I can remember. But to me, the part that I kept thinking back in the other dream when I was performing, or when I was about to, when I kept almost going on, it made me think of maybe that's supposed to symbolize like how I kept thinking these dates were going to be when the rapture was, but it wasn't quite yet. And possibly the huge colorful fireball symbolized the great and terrible day of the Lord, because it's beautiful but clearly causing so much destruction. Another thought was maybe the fact that it was a rainbow, and this is like causing the end of the world essentially, ties into how a rainbow was created at the end of God's first destruction. But I'm out of time. God bless you guys. Peace.